So what is the definition that you like for PLG?
Absolutely. So PLG, I actually don't like the G in it. I just like it's product-led. And what product-led means is that you want to surface the value of the product as an enabler to drive more sales, whether it's existing customer sales or whether it's acquisition, new logo sales. And so that's really at the core is how do you surface the value of a product? And there are different mechanisms. So some of the tactics include freemium and free trials and things like that. But there's also mechanisms that don't require that you can still leverage with values. But at the core, it's allowing the product to blossom, allowing it to sell itself. And then that empowers your entire marketing and sales motions.
I love that. I haven't heard it put that way, surfacing the value of the product to enable to drive more sales. It's good. And I think the other definition I've heard is just how it changes the process of how you buy. Instead of telling people what your value proposition is, you show them. So you get them to experience it before they buy. And how then is it different to other marketing strategies or sales-led top-down approaches?
The important thing to recognize is that it's a complement and how it differs. So marketing drives emotion, whatever it is, a campaign or otherwise, to drive in MQLs. And in the traditional motion, the MQL went to a seller. And then it became sales qualified. And then when it's SQL, it gets converted into an opportunity and then closed one. Where a PLG motion changes is that you still may have the MQL, but instead of leading them to a seller, you tier it and you say, actually, let me send them into the product directly. In a pure SaaS play, and there's different models for different industries, but in a pure SaaS world, you would say, drive a campaign, comes in, early lead, qualified as an MQL, send them into the product. Once they've gone through the trial, then you need to execute, as marketing is like execute the messaging, making sure that they get the value. So you take them on a journey so that they don't just get a trial, but they're onboarded and activated.
Yeah.
And message them and say, it's not just about, did you see the value, but now assessing their value. And then from there, guiding them to self-serve pay or guide them to a seller. What's the interesting thing is that I saw a stat recently, probably in the last couple of weeks, that said 94% of all PLG companies have sales teams. So it's not exclusive. It's not you have one or the other. So because of that, the PQL, the product qualified lead, becomes another path. So an MQL can lead to a PQL, one path, and from there it can lead to an SQL or a direct self-serve sale. You can have a direct campaign without an MQL and going straight to a PQL. So there's a path there that runs parallel. So as a marketing team, you're still responsible for driving campaigns directly to the PQL. And then you've got an MQL. You might go to a sales, you might say, actually, for a variety of reasons, I've tiered them. So the criteria are they spun up a trial, but I want to then go and accelerate and send them straight to a salesperson. They're a large organization. They've got complex criteria, whatever it is. I want to get them into a sales approach. So it's really a complement for the traditional MQL, SQL model. And it can be in parallel with them and can fit in with them. So you actually weave people through, because sometimes as you get more complicated products, getting people to do a trial of a product is very difficult. It's a very complicated or a very niche product. So sometimes you need to do them to an MQL, white paper, webinar, events, classic things. Like now that they're aware of the problem that you're trying to solve, then you tell them, this is the problem that we're trying to solve. You can't do all of that often in the product. It's simple when you have a tool like Asana. What's Asana? It's a task tracker. Great. Everyone gets what the problem is. But when you've got a more sophisticated product, robotic process automation as an example, you need to take people on that journey.
Yeah, so it comes down to the maturity and the understanding of the product. I think when Salesforce started, it was a cloud-based CRM system at a time when buyers were, what is that? And had concerns around data security and lots of obstacles to purchase. So yeah, it had to be a sales-led approach. But once the market matured, now they've got freemium products as well as enterprise sales and other things. Like you say, it's complementary. It's whether they're in a red ocean or blue ocean can be a factor. Like, is it a really highly competitive market that's well understood, like CRMs now, and therefore you're trying to harvest the demand that's already there, in which case PLG might work. But if it's a blue ocean where you're creating a new category, like you said, if it's really complex, then it may be difficult to do that purely with PLG.
You've been listening to Lean Mean Marketing Teams with Ty Hayes. If you love the show, please remember to hit subscribe so that you can discover more tips and strategies to build a high-performance marketing team. And if you're feeling generous, please tell someone about the show who you think would benefit. We're on a mission to help CMOs build their dream team and enable marketers to do their best work. And we appreciate your help in spreading the word.